Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and not recognized the woman looking back at you? Not because of how you look, but because of who you've become. You've been cosplaying your life in your role at your job, in your role for the men in your life, your role for certain friend groups, right? A performance every single time you look at yourself. What you're not seeing is a visual reflection, but a psychological one. If it feels like you have no control over the direction of your life, and you know it feels like that, but you know that's not true. And you're wondering, how much longer can you keep this up? Because the cracks are forming and they're showing up in every single thing. They're showing up in every deep sigh you take during a superficial conversation with people you realize you really don't like. It's showing up every time you have to deal with another condescending microaggression from your boss, but you can't let them see that it affects you or you will be labeled emotional. So you keep up the appearances. Will someone recognize the real you that you've been hiding and protecting? The real question is, will that someone be you? Welcome back to the channel. I am Marjorie Boswick Phoenix. And if you're new here, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. And if you like what you're hearing, please like and subscribe so that this information can reach more people. Now, imagine waking up in the morning, not rushing to look at the clock on your phone, laying under some cool white sheets, and you can see the sun peeking through the blinds in the window. And you can take a deep breath and connect with yourself. No rushing, just calm presence. Yes, the kids or the husband or the job, they may still all be there, but this moment belongs to you. And when you get up from the bed and you walk into your clean bathroom and you look into the mirror, you smile. Not because you like what you see, although you probably do, but because you recognize that woman in the mirror. She's the same woman she was all day yesterday and the same one she will be today, not a watered down version. Now, what is the difference between this woman and the one that I opened with? It's not luck and it's not circumstances, and it's certainly not a morning routine. And I'm telling you this from a place of knowing because I have been both women, standing at that threshold in my life that I refused to cross because I did not want to say goodbye to the version of myself everyone was expecting. And this was not just about me being uncomfortable, but it was about other people's uncomfortableness in the choices that I made. But the moment I decided to cross that threshold, it was almost as if I didn't have a choice. And it wasn't because it was a defining moment, right? For some people, there are defining moments. There are those moments that literally push you over or pull you over, kicking and screaming. But no, for me, I just decided. And I started telling myself that it did not have to be this way. It could be another way. And that I didn't need to be brave. I just needed to recognize what I was seeing and not look away from it. And you get to decide too. You decide your energy first thing in the morning. You decide how to react to the circumstances and the environment around you. What shows up in your inbox? What's on the news? What someone else's urgency is demanding of you? This is about you having a sense of sovereignty in your life, sovereignty over your own consciousness. And that's the difference. It is exactly what separates a healed woman from an evolved woman. Most women I talk to have done all the healing work, the therapy, the shadow work, the breathing work, the inner child work, right? The mirror work. And it changed them. But what they struggle and what I struggled with was changing what I actually did. Looking in that mirror, we knew what we were looking at, but we didn't do anything to change it. We kept showing up as someone else every single day. When you are a healed woman, you know you need rest. You understand the importance of it. But when you are an evolved woman, you have actually restructured your life to protect that rest. Remember that slow morning, being present with yourself, no rushing. That is not an accident, that is a decision. A healed woman knows her mornings matter, and an evolved woman makes it matter. And this isn't about having the perfect morning routine. This is about whether the awareness you gained in your healing has actually changed what you do with the first hour of your day and the remainder of your day. Your attention is not available to everyone anymore. You get to decide who and what gets your attention. This isn't about just creating another habit. This is evolution in action. So let's go back to, when I made that decision, right, to cross that threshold. That decision was not a one-time decision. I had to make that decision every day about how I was going to show up in the world. To continue to make that decision, I had to go deep and I had to do some excavation. I had to feel some things in my body. I had to say yes when I wanted to say no and no when I wanted to say yes. I became aware in a way that revealed the patterns that were keeping me in this loop. Evolution is not just knowing where the patterns come from. It is what you do when they show up again. It is that moment I said no or yes, and I did not feel like I needed to apologize for it. I stopped giving more of myself to others than I was willing to give to myself. I chose myself. I learned the difference between giving from overflow and giving from depletion and made the decision, that one decision, from a place of devotion instead of self-abandonment. So each time I decided and chose myself, I opened up a new layer and a new sense of understanding about me. And it was from that place that I created the emergence map. It helps you to identify those repeating patterns that keep you stuck on the edge of your threshold. And it shows you how and why it's triggered and what archetype wants to emerge but can't. But the most important part of that really takes you to that place of evolution was the comprehensive 90-day plan that I include with it, with 3 action phases, failure protocols, and tracking strategy. And I shared a couple of instances with clients, what that did for them in my previous video that I'm going to link in the description box for you if you want to hear more about that. But if that sounds like you, I'm going to put that link in the description box so you can go there after this video and check it out for yourself. And it is from that place, right? That place of evolving, that everything that I'm about to share with you becomes possible. When a woman or when women are in community, you can tell who the evolved women are. You are showing up intentionally and you gather with women who are looking straight ahead and not back. You can be in a space with other women and not have to put on a protective gear because of any past hurt that you've experienced. And this, what I'm about to say here next, is going to hit deeply personal because it touches something that women don't always want to admit. But we tend to bring that behavior from our past, that behavior and those patterns, the social conditioning, the programming of extraction into spaces with other women under this guise of bringing women together or women's liberation. We pretty much continue the work of the system. Your evolution is reflected in the women who see you fully, but still call you to higher ground. And you, at that point, can stop being loyal to people simply because of history or past attachment. You're loyal to growth. You're loyal to the evolution and not just your own. Now, I have to say this because I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. And you will hear this in every video. The most dangerous thing to the system are women who are evolved, resourced, and building together. For a woman to get there, she must be comfortable making decisions every single day that center herself first, not from a selfish place, but from an elevated one. Your decisions can't be from a place of fear anymore, especially if you are able to tap into yourself, your inner knowing, and you can tell the difference between the voice of that knowing and the voice of your conditioning. A healed woman knows she's afraid, what she's afraid of. But an evolved woman has stopped letting fear make her decisions. Evolution is that moment that you feel fear, but you move anyway. You build what feels true even when it may not have been proven yet. You invest in the boldest ideas and not always the safest ones. Your evolution calls forward worlds that do not exist yet, but yet you begin architecting them anyway. Evolution is the proof of the healing and how you actually live your life. Now, there are limited spaces for women like you. Being evolved and resourced is intimidated, not just to men, but to some women as well. And that's all right. That is not your problem. Because women at that magnitude need to gather with other women who are dangerous Imagineers, wild women leaders who are changing narratives, shifting economies, and creating new structures and systems. And there's a room being built for women like you. It's called the Feminati, a sovereign order for women who are evolved, resourced, and ready to architect the new world order. Not a mastermind, not a coaching container, not a networking group, a curated space of women who have remembered who they are and they're now ready to build what the world needs next together. So if that is you, I want you to fill out the interest form that I'm going to put in the description box below so we can have a conversation about what that space looks like with you in it as a founding member. The doors open on June 9th. And I really hope you'll join us. So until next time, I'm Marjorie, and this is the work of remembering who you are before the world told you who to be.